Hi, my name's Andy Dane. I'm the founder and CEO of Capital A, and I'm really excited to be putting together this course on M&A for people who are perhaps slightly new to the whole concept. The idea really behind this is to show people from the creative industries how easy it is to use M&A to grow your business. So one thing I'm really keen to show people is that, if you've got a business that maybe is worth, I don't know, 2.5 £3 million, that you can actually acquire another company that's worth 1 or 2 million quite easily. And I think people feel that it's really difficult to find the finances to put it together, but to put the deals together. What they don't really understand is how these deals, generally speaking, are put together in the first place. And actually the finances that you require can actually be a lot less than what you were thinking. And once you realise that it may be less than you were thinking, you can start to put the pieces together to build a deal. So for instance, a lot of M&A deals around agencies, for instance, are based on something which is called seller finance or an earn-out. And the way that the deal actually is structured is that the seller gets half of their money up front, and then they get the other half over a period of time, and that's called the earn-out. So what they'll do is that the buyer will say they're going to buy a business that's worth 2 million. They would give the seller £1 million up front, and then they would spend the next 2 or 3 years earning 330 grand or whatever it is each year on top of their salary for staying in the business. But they would get that extra money as part of their earn-out, and eventually they would get the whole piece of the pie, the 2 million that the company's worth. So really, if you're thinking, well, I want to buy a company that's worth 1 or 2 million, the money that you actually require to make that first payment to start the deal off is actually half as much as maybe you were thinking. Now, another thing about this is, and we see this a lot with Martin Sorrell, who's doing lots of new deals with his new company, this S4 Capital, sorry. They're actually, all the deals that he's doing now are all mergers as well, and I think we can learn a lot from this concept. So let's say we have that business that's worth 2 million that you want to acquire. Then instead of having to come up with £1 million to acquire the business to make that first payment, now you actually only have to give them perhaps 500k, because what we can do is actually give them what they call a paper and cash deal. Now the paper part of that is equity in the top company. So say you had a business that's already worth 2 million, you acquire another business that's worth 2 million, those two businesses together are worth 4 million. Then if you give the seller some equity in the top co, say 1 million of that, so you would then own 3/4 of the business, they would own 25%. And then you could also pay them £1 million, and then half of that would be up front. So they would get 500 grand up front, and then 500 grand over 3 years, plus they would get some equity, 25% in the top co. So now we've got a business that's worth 4 million, you're buying a company that's worth 2 million, but all you need in terms of cash to make that acquisition, to make that first payment, is 500k. So can you see how the amounts of capital that you need is actually potentially a lot less than you're thinking? Obviously you can scale these numbers up and down depending on how big the acquisition is that you want to make, but capital of around 500 could be a lot more achievable. I should imagine lots of business owners already have some money put aside that they're going to put towards that. We hear a lot about no money down deals, and actually for 250k, for instance, quite often you will be able to find a bank that will be able to fund that 250k without you having to put any personal guarantees down, particularly at the moment with civil loans. So these amounts are much more achievable than you were thinking. So you don't actually have to come up with 2 million to acquire a business worth 2 million. You can actually come up with a much smaller amount and make a reasonably sized acquisition. So these are the sorts of things that I want to talk to people about, and this is what's coming together for the course that's going to go live next week. We're gonna open up the trolley so you guys can come on and sign up, and then we're going to kick off the week after. I'm really excited about the whole thing, so Any comments from you guys, please do send them over. We had lots of questions that were sent over the first time from my previous video, which was really cool as well. I'm hoping what you can do is either post below this video or even on LinkedIn in a post that I'm going to do for this video. If you can post below it and just let everybody know that you're interested in the course, but not only that, sharing your stories about how you're hoping to use what you learn to make acquisitions yourself. Anyway, as I said, my name's Andy Day and I'm the founder and CEO of Capital A, and really looking forward to meeting you all soon.